are lonely. Why is that so? What are the consequences? And how can one avoid and reduce the impact of loneliness? I'm about to share some important information that's going to be a real downer. So hang in there, because I'm also going to explore some possible remedies for this problem. Loneliness isn't determined by the number of friends or social contacts a person has. Social science researchers define loneliness as the emotional state created when people have fewer meaningful relationships than they would like. Relationships that make them feel known and understood. Loneliness isn't just a feeling that leaves us sad for a few hours or a few days. Recent research suggests that for many people, loneliness is more like a chronic ache affecting their daily lives and sense of well-being. And in case you think that loneliness is only a problem for the elderly, I was surprised to learn that Generation Z, these are folks born in the mid-1990s, right up through the early 2000s, and millennials, who are slightly older, report a 47% rate of loneliness, in contrast to baby boomer generation, which is about 43%. So why are so many people lonely? Well, Americans are getting married later, having children later. Also, a lot of young people are freelancers, part of the gig economy. And without the relationship of co-workers, they often have a higher rate of loneliness. Couples generally now have fewer children than previous generations, and there are more divorces in the last 40 or 50 years. Also, people don't stay in the same job or even in the same town as before. So they're often starting over, hoping to get to know and like the new folks that they're meeting, and it's not easy. Men are far more likely to experience loneliness than women, and their rate of suicide, I was shocked to learn, is 4 times higher than that of women. Men often think that needing others is a sign of weakness, and being vulnerable is unmanly. There's an NPR article entitled "The Lonely Man," which states, "It can be difficult for men to hold on to friendships as they age, and the problem may begin in adolescence." New York University psychology professor Niobe Way has spent decades interviewing adolescent boys. She points to the cultural messages boys get early on. And this is a quote from Dr. Way. "These are human beings with unbelievable emotional and social capacity, and we as a culture just completely try to zip it out of them." Loneliness is what happens when half the population gets the message that needing others is a sign of weakness. Despite an infinite variety of opportunities to connect online, social media may actually increase feelings of loneliness. Think about it. You're home alone at night, you're scrolling through some of your friends' Facebook posts, and you see, the happy wedding reception and family gatherings and wonderful vacations that your friends are having. Well, it's no wonder you can think everybody's having a better time than I am. In a study of Americans 19 to 30 years of age, the top 25% of social media users were twice as likely to feel lonely as the people using it the least. But we can't blame it all on social media, of course. The health insurance company Cigna recently completed a study of 20,000 people. They reported that 47% of respondents often felt alone or left out, and 13% said that nobody knew them well. The U.S. isn't unique in this respect. Loneliness is at epidemic levels throughout the developed world. In the UK, 41% say that their TV or a pet is their sole company. In fact, the UK even created a cabinet-level minister to deal with the problem of rampant loneliness. So what impact does loneliness have on your physical and emotional health, other than making a person feel blue or isolated? I was surprised to learn that loneliness has been linked to a higher risk of coronary heart disease and stroke. It's been shown to influence our genes and our immune system. It can shorten one's life by 15 years. The same impact as being obese or smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Lonely people suffer more from depression, insomnia, and drug or alcohol abuse. They're more likely to develop rapid cognitive decline in old age. The former U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy is quoted as saying, "During my years caring for patients, the most common pathology was not heart disease or diabetes, it was loneliness." Some of you may question why the physical problems associated with loneliness. Loneliness produces stress hormones, and when the body is exposed to them over a long period of time, stress leads to high blood pressure, increased inflammation, and a weakened immune system. Without an emotional support network, lonely people are more likely to slip into unhealthy habits, such as excess consumption of alcohol or drugs, overeating, and not exercising. In case all this dire information about loneliness has made you feel really crummy, I've included some ideas to combat loneliness. But there's a warning. You may have to get out of your comfort zone. Be brave. If you're a worrier, you don't need that stress. Learn how to meditate. Make sure to include sensible exercise that's fun. I can hear you say, fun exercise? That's an oxymoron. Well, we all know that sensible exercise raises endorphin levels and makes us feel good. Now, if you add a social aspect to your workout and make friends at the same time, join a water aerobic group, join a YMCA or a health club. Look for classes that make working out more fun when it's done to stirring music. I like dancing to music with a beat. At the very least, preferably walk with a friend or a neighbor. Try a new course of study, a game you've never tried before. Take advantage of the many opportunities to get to know people, to get to know folks active in our Chalice community. And Reverend Sharon prepared this insert in your program. I want you to take a moment to put it in your pocket or your purse right now, take it home and look at it. These are groups that you can join at Chalice, some during the evening and others during the day, where you can socialize with people and get to know them individually. Look for ways you can volunteer. Now, some of you who've seen me around here a lot may be surprised to learn that I only started to become active here fairly recently. I knew that Unitarianism was a good philosophical fit for me, but I happened to attend a performance of the Encore Vocal Ensemble. What a fabulous group. I know I'm not supposed to plug them, but they're a fabulous group, and our concert's coming up the 8th and 9th of November. I didn't say that. Okay. Well, I attended their program, and I noticed that their director was none other than our own Tim McKnight. Well, I started coming to Chalice then to sing in the choir. And when the choir stayed between services to sing at the second service, I often felt a bit awkward trying to make small talk with strangers. So I often took refuge in the kitchen, loading dirty coffee cups into the dishwasher. Do I know how to have a good time or what? Well, shortly after I started coming here, my wonderful husband, Dennis, suffered a fatal heart attack. It was May of 2016. Reverend Sharon was away on sabbatical, but Elizabeth Buki was such a resource for me, especially in planning Dennis's memorial service. And then Kathy Florendo and her hospitality team reached out to me and prepared a wonderful reception after the memorial service. And I didn't know then, until then, how much I needed and appreciated their support. I felt such gratitude for their kindness. So what did I do? I paid it forward. You might say I came for the singing, but I stayed for the community of delightful people and Sharon's thought-provoking sermons. Now, if you're fairly new here, how do you get to know and look forward to seeing some of these wonderful congregants? Try making yourself useful. You can always load the dishwasher. And seriously, volunteer to help when and where you can. A friend I had back in Chicago said her husband referred to her as old helium hand. And he said every time someone asks for a volunteer, her hand just automatically floats up. There are lots of opportunities to volunteer at Chalice, but there's many other places as well. Food banks, tutoring at a school, helping immigrants learn to speak English. Look online, ask around, try some options. Give it a couple of months, and if you don't like it, try something else. Just don't give up on volunteering, reaching out to potential friends, or learning a new skill. That reaching out is very much in keeping with the story that David read so well this morning, taking a chance. I think it also helps. You don't have to be multi-talented. When you volunteer to serve, you start to uncover some of the resources at your disposal, sharing your time, a kind word, and your smile. You begin to discover opportunities to serve everywhere. You start to look at people and situations with an eye for what you can offer them, and not vice versa. And if you think about it, being self-centered is part of what makes people lonely. I think it also helps to be conscious of the blessings we all have. Take a moment each day to feel gratitude for these blessings, and then pay it forward. It could be something as simple as holding a door for someone, offering a smile, a compliment. And when this practice becomes a habit, it weans us from self-centeredness. We begin to notice the transformation that can result from every act of generosity. When you give of yourself, you actually receive. Each of us has gifts or skills, like the ability to listen and be present for someone to help them feel understood. And maybe one of your gifts is your empathy and caring, a sense of humor, your time and your willingness to help. These are qualities we should feel ourselves privileged to have. And when we actually start to use our gifts as tools to facilitate change, we can become the change we want to see. Now, if you're one of those lucky people who this conversation certainly doesn't apply to you, then be aware that I just wanted to relate a story. Years ago, when I was going through a divorce, I reached out to some of the friends that we'd had as a couple. And for whatever reason, when I suggested getting together, they would say something like, well, let me know when you're dating someone, and we'll make plans to have dinner. Well, I felt sort of stung by that, as though, am I half a person? So just be aware of that. If you are happy in a relationship and you have all the friends you can manage, think of the person that may be hurting or lonely. Getting back to the warning that to guard against loneliness, you have to be willing to challenge yourself to leave your comfort zone and take a chance. I've asked Jennifer Savillon to sing a song from the Broadway show Mame. It's called Open a New Window. In addition to listening to Jennifer's lovely voice, I want you to listen closely to the lyrics.